In a world where knowledge is power, listen to industry-leading experts discuss the future of digital currency. Welcome to the Crypto Untangled Podcast. Learn the ins and outs of cryptocurrency and blockchain and take your wealth to the next level. Now, here is your host, Dr. Boudib.
Thank you for joining me today, for accepting to join. I would like to welcome you in this third episode of Crypto Untangled podcast. I would like just to say two words about you. Your name is Rahim Mahtab. You are a digital artist and photographer based in Dubai. Welcome to this episode, and hopefully we'll get to know a bit more about you, about your artwork. Why are you in Dubai, and how or what attracted you to the NFT market? Let's start by getting to know a little bit about you and your background. What can you tell us?
Awesome. Thank you for having me, Peter. This is an absolute pleasure. My name is Rahim Mahtab. As you mentioned, I actually started my career as a forensic scientist. Just like you, I was in the field of science, and I did that for a couple of years until it got too dark for me. And because I used to partially kind of work in the morgue, and it just like, I feel like you need to have like a whole mental sense to kind of do something like that on a daily basis and stuff. And I used to see like just like dead people every day, and like it started affecting me mentally. Yeah. And what I would do is to kind of like detoxify myself, is I would go to my desk and I would look at through magazines of like colorful images, and that would kind of help me cope up with it and stuff. And eventually I started to pick my camera, and I would just like go out and like click pictures of photographs of flowers and buildings and whatever I saw. Like I was like that crazy person clicking pictures of everything. And then I started to build an interest in photography. And then a couple of years later, I was working a different job. I was working as a scientist in a perfume lab, but I was doing photography on the side. I started doing some freelance gigs, and a couple of years later, I was like, you know what, it's time to call it quits. And so I decided to quit my science career and embarked on my journey of being an artist.
Little bit bold, but hopefully one day it's a bit tough. So basically, I saw a couple of NFTs that you posted. They are a bit surrealistic, but still it has a lot of emotion inside. So what inspires you to make those NFTs and the ideas behind?
Love it. I love this question because so I come from like with a strong background of because this is what I do for a living as well, of my photography and filmmaking. I believe a lot in storytelling. I feel like as photographers or filmmakers or artists, I think we get so caught up in the technicalities and the aesthetics of it that we forget the storytelling aspect of it. So for me, having that emotion being evoked in terms of the image is very important. Like I want anyone who looks at my work to feel something, like whether you're able to buy it or not, whether you're interested in buying it or not, it's a different thing, but I want everyone to look at my NFT and be moved and stuff. The surreal just comes with that. I just like looking at the world from a different point of view. I feel like I'm someone who believes in expressing and communicating emotions. I believe all our extreme emotions are great, whether it's fear, anxiety, happiness, love, and I feel like we should embrace and feel all of them. And I try my best to kind of portray that. I'm a huge color science person. I love understanding color and how it resonates with human emotions and how we storytell with that. So yeah, I feel like those three things are my biggest thing, but I love doing these wide shots of storytelling because I love storytelling. I feel like the idea of, you know, when you watch a movie and you're sitting there in the theater and crying or like laughing, I think it's such a beautiful experience that we are able to create this fake world, but make you feel real emotions. And that's what I want to do with my NFT.
Kind of connect you to whatever story or environment they are trying to tell or to describe or to, I don't know, imagine in something like that. So you told us you've been a forensic scientist, moved to photography, and after photography, you started doing your artwork, digital artwork. So how did
Absolutely.
you develop this career so far? How was it developed? And how
Well,
opportunities?
well, I would say like one of the things that has helped me develop my career is I would say my social skills. I'm a very extroverted and social person, so I always feel like meeting new people, hearing new stories, and I feel like I'm someone who doesn't get like satisfied with themselves easily. So I feel like sometimes there are things that you don't know, and you only know that when you like speak to people or like listen to their stories. And I feel like a lot of the stories that I make today, a lot of the art I make today is kind of comes from just like knowing people or like how they feel and how we can kind of express that in visual arts and stuff. Because like you're a person of science as well. So one of the things like they always say that like we cannot get into like in each other's consciousness and stuff. Like you looking at a red apple might not be the red apple I'm looking at in my head and stuff. It could be green in my head, but there's no way to find out if it's green in my head. Maybe I'm calling it red. And I feel like because of art, I feel like that is the only way we kind of express it for everyone to see what's going on in my head and stuff. I think it's a beautiful thing. So that kind of just like got me to start doing so.
Super. So in your artwork, there are definitely multiple stories, but there should be some sort of, let's say, one or two key points that drives you most of the time. So what kind of story or words or aim does your work target or is trying to say in your NFT? So I saw, for instance, the flying balloon in the space. I saw the astronaut, mother astronaut birthdays thing. It's so touchy. There is also, if I remember, one was, which just to recall this new, I think, I don't know if it's an astronaut, it's a robot coming from the future, one of your latest artwork.
Yes.
Can't recall. So what's the key factor, the common factor between all of them, and that you are trying to say with those pieces?
All right. I would say one of my major successes, one of my major contributions to my successes and whatever I've done in my life is, I would say, the love and support I had from family and friends. I literally like owe my life to them, especially my friends. Like I could not imagine my life without them and stuff. So I have this element in most of my NFTs where it's about like parents, or like there's an element of love. Even the feature as he's called a cybernaut, so he's like I've given him like a mixture of like a future but like also an astronaut, so it's like a cybernaut and stuff. And I've kind of planned to build it in a story where I do multiple artworks with him, but he's basically someone traveling through space and time. He's from the future coming back in time to save mankind. So I'm like so much about like love and like care and like looking after each other and just like giving us hope and stuff. So that's I think that's just one of my key things that makes me make what I do and my main theme in most of my artworks.
I had this kind of feeling that you are trying to focus a bit more on family. There is something about this family going on, but yeah, it was clear. So what do you like and what do you dislike about your work?
Oh, okay. What do I dislike? I think I'm a very big perfectionist. I think a lot of artists are, and that is true. However, I think mine is a little bit more heightened because I come from a background where I think two careers, whether the forensic scientists and doctors, are told that you cannot make mistakes. Everyone in life says you can make mistakes, but you two people cannot make mistakes. So I feel like sometimes my perfectionism gets the best of me, but it is something that I constantly work on, and I think it's something I will be working on throughout my life. And I think it's a process. It's a fun process. So I would say that is one thing that I dislike about the way I do my work. One thing I really like is I'm obsessed with color science. I feel like even if there are like a harmony of colors that I see, that I will be able to feel an emotion or express an emotion and stuff. So color is super important to me. Even when I was doing photography, unpopular opinion, I'm not a big fan of black and white images and stuff. I feel like they had like a time and place. I just can't. Like, I know it's amazing. I know people who do that art is amazing and stuff, But for me, like the color aspect of it, how you can make in cinema, how you can make the same movie look like it's a sci-fi movie, or it's a horror movie, or it's like a high key lighting, like a comedy movie and stuff. It's like so much about the color to me and stuff. So I would say my favorite thing is my technical knowledge when it comes to color.
That's true. Let me comment a little bit on this one. I am also a photographer and camera collector as well. But
awesome.
I tend to like, so I know that, for instance, when you shoot a film, you cannot replicate the colors. It's quite original. It's quite strong. Like it has the feeling, the atmosphere, the ambience all together in a film. Every film has its own unique sensation. But for me, I know that color is super strong and it has the how to say, the impact on the image or on the story but I prefer personally black and white. I see that if you are great, the simplicity makes it like you can express yourself, you can tell your story by the simplicity of the picture, like sometimes the minimalist, a simple line can make you wonder for an hour in front of a picture, trying to understand what did he have in his mind trying to do it, or capture a single moment like of somebody, like in life. For me, pictures, imaging, art is something so special in my life and something that I was always interested in. I did not take this bold move as you did to move from forensic to art completely, but God knows what happens tomorrow. So
I love that. I love what you said, because at the core of it, even though this is going to sound a bit contrary to what I just said about my interest in color and stuff, at the core of it, this comes back to the way that storytelling is the biggest aspect of you doing any art form and stuff, whether you're shooting black and white. And I feel like whether it's a minimalist I think it's so much about the composition and the story that you're telling, that the colors and all these technical aspects of whether what gear you're using or this thing, they all matter. They all add a different element to it, but they all are secondary and stuff. Storytelling on top.
That's glad to hear that we share at least the fundamental of it. I know that color, I saw recently this emergence of this purplish, pink, magenta, I don't know, this kind of colors that are coming or dominating most of the new artworks. What can you tell us? Why those colors, for instance? What makes them special that they are almost everywhere?
Very interesting. I feel like there are certain colors that have an element of transition where we've gone from to what we are going to. I feel like for example, a lot of the film photos back in the day had like that warm green touch and stuff. So they're always kind of associated with like vintage photographs and stuff. You had your like this, and I feel like your magenta is like literally like the opposite color on the color wheel for green and stuff. And that's why it's considered like a color of the future. Like even you see these cyberpunk tones, they're always that cyan and pink and magenta and stuff and everything. So I think it's just like a kind of a unique perspective of people trying to show how whether times have changed, whether the artwork that they're doing is kind of future based. And I think like time and culture kind of changes art so much that we don't realize in the grand scheme of things and stuff. Like they say that about music as well, that back in the days when World War was happening, that people felt that a lot of the classical music that was being formed was very calm to what was happening in the world. So they say the kind of the birth of like different genres of music came from that time, because like they started playing faster notes and like more heavier classical notes and stuff and everything. So I feel like culture and like what's happening right now in the world at any point in time kind of shapes art a lot more than people realize.
That's nice. Thank you. I did not know why, but now at least I know. So thank you for the information. What do you think? What is the role of an artist in a society? You know that there are pictures in the, let's say 1500, 1600, 1800. They are like pieces of art that lives forever. There are others that are there that for the revolution, for instance, or describe a revolution or something that impacted or describe a moment in life, or maybe motivate people to do something. So What can you tell us about, or what do you think, in your opinion, what's the role of an artist in a society?
Hmm. I feel like this can branch out in like a couple of different ways and stuff. This goes back to a point that I was making earlier, how your art is basically an expression of whatever it is that you're feeling. And I feel like art is one of the only things in life that you're able to do freely in the grand system that we live in, whether it's your your day-to-day job and you go to your school and you go to your university, you do all these systems, you're part of these systems and stuff and everything, where we have to confine to certain rules. I'm not taking a very extreme stance on being like, oh, beat the system, or like, like don't do jobs or something like that. But I'm saying we are part of the system where we kind of have to follow some rules and regulations when it comes to certain things and stuff. However, I feel like art is where it makes people feel liberated, because you are free to do whatever you want. Like when I'm creating surreal art, like the colors are all like, sometimes they don't even make sense. Like that's not real and stuff, but that's beautiful about it. And I feel like when people are able to do these small elements of expression in art, whatever art form it is, whether it's dancing, painting, photography, whatever it is, it kind of gives, even if they're not making something out of it, or it's not going in a museum or having a big impact and stuff, I feel like it kind of pushes you to do the rest of your day-to-day life in a more stable mindset and stuff. And I feel like art kind of expresses what is happening in someone's mind or what's happening in society. So it kind of gives a peek into someone else's world and stuff. And I feel like sometimes when you look at photographs that are like from like war countries or like photojournalism and stuff and everything, that puts you in the moment and stuff. You're thinking about what the person in the photograph is feeling. I also sometimes think, what is it the photographer that's going through it and stuff? And a photojournalist taking a photograph in like extreme conditions, I'm like, how
Sure.
is he scared or is she scared and stuff? So I feel like, to me, I feel like the world is split into two people. We have like dreamers and achievers, and like we need each other. And I feel like artists are part of the dreamers aspect of the world, who kind of put the achievers to achieve what we do, whether it's like flying outer space, or like when a kid draws a painting and like he's drawing like planets and the solar system and stuff and everything, he puts himself in that image and stuff. And I feel like that's what I think. Dreamers and achievers, they both need each other to dreamers need achievers to kind of ground them, to tell them how there are certain rules or certain systems that we need to follow in order to kind of work in cohesion. And dreamers are being like, you know what, we need to kind of change the world or change the way we look at things. And that's how we bring about any sort of change in life, whether it's technological, whether it's political, socioeconomic, and stuff like that.
Very nice. I really enjoy, or I'm really enjoying your look, or the angle that you look at art from. I don't know much, or I don't know many artists, and I'm getting slowly into the kind of atmosphere, not as an artist, but as somebody who's talking to artists. And that's a unique, it's like, it's new to me, and I see it fascinating. So thank you for sharing
You're
your
most
point.
welcome.
What can you tell us? What was the best piece of advice that somebody, I don't know, your influencer or gave you, that impacted your art or your career or your perspective of drawing or making art?
I would say the best piece of advice someone gave me, and I know this sounds cliche, but I would say two advices. One is about knowing the balance of working hard and working smart. I feel like that was like super revolutionary to me. I feel like it sounds very cliche, but it has so much importance. I would still say, and maybe this would be a weird thing to say, but the personal works I've done, or the personal works of my art that I absolutely love, I would still say I've put in a lot more effort in them than I've put in any of the commercial work I've ever done for any brand or any company and stuff. And it's not because I don't have my heart in it and stuff, but it's knowing when to work hard and when to work smart is a very strong aspect of you creating art. And I'm trying to incorporate that in my day-to-day art as well. There was a 3D piece I did recently, and I recently got into 3D from Photoshop and stuff, and I was struggling because like the file sizes were very huge, and 3D is a whole different ball game on your computer systems and how long it takes and stuff. And there were certain things that I had to come with terms to it because I was like there were these trees in the background that had like a lot of texture, but they were in the background and it had a very shallow depth of field. And logically, it made sense for me to bring that texture down because it was just making the file size very high because there were like 30, 40 trees in the background, but that material wasn't important enough to the story and stuff. It was in the back, it was in the shallow depth of field, and knowing that, and then I was struggling. I was like, I want to keep it this way, and it suddenly came to my mind that why am I doing this and stuff? And I was like, wouldn't removing that like increase my workflow? Would it make everything faster? My render times would be faster. And I was like, you know what? This comes back to working smart. So I'm trying to incorporate that every single day, and I feel like that really helped me. And the second thing is, and again, this is going to sound very cliche, but I would say even when I was learning Photoshop or learning how to edit, a lot of my editing things, even when I'm like retouching like portraits and like fashion photographs and stuff, a lot of the techniques that I'm using, they came from the first time me learning it to use it on like real estate photographs or product photographs and stuff and everything. And I feel like as cliche as it sounds, just like doing something over and over again in different ways, whatever art form it is, whether it's painting or you're painting on different canvases, you're mixing different colors, different brushes and stuff. Even if you think they are going to work a certain way and stuff, there is an element of you don't know. And I feel like just like trying different things is very important. If you're not going to have a cheesecake, you will never know what a cheesecake is and stuff. So I'll make sure you always try things to know whether you like it or not.
Beautiful. So these were pieces of advice to you. So what would you advise the new guys or the new artists or people that would like to maybe join the NFT market or to break free and start their career as artists? What would you tell them? What is the best piece of advice that maybe Rahim can give them at the moment?
Awesome. Okay, I would say there are two things that you need to focus on. It is that, and I will talk about the first thing later on, but the first is the art bit, and the second thing is your branding bit. I know a lot of artists don't want to or like to brand themselves, and not that I'm saying that there's anything wrong with them and stuff. It's just that if we artists feel that it takes time and effort out of that we could be put into creating it and stuff. But unfortunately, that's not how the world works in any shape or form. It doesn't matter how good of an artist or a writer or a painter you are if no one knows about it and stuff. So I feel like knowing how to brand yourself and market yourself is just as crucial as creating your art. So like whatever it is that you're creating, make sure you are thinking long term. A lot of pieces of art that became historic over the years is because they held some value of storytelling in them. So knowing that you're in the long run, it's great to make money in the moment and people have liabilities or whatever. That's a whole different topic and stuff. But I feel like thinking of this as like the long term, like people like a lot of artists did not become famous or did not know well known even until they died and stuff and everything. And it's because people didn't have the means back then to kind of market or brand themselves. And I feel like as an artist, it would suck for you to only become famous or known or be appreciated for after you pass away and stuff and everything. So I feel like working on your brand and marketing, whether it's through online media, whether it's hiring virtual assistants to do that, do look into it. It's a topic that's considered very opposite to art. So people think that, oh, I don't need to do this. I'm an artist. People will find me. Sadly, it doesn't work that way. There's so much noise on the internet. There's so much art. There's so much amazing art that in order for you to stand out, you need to do that. My second thing would be just to create something that you have your heart and soul in it and stuff. It sounds cliche, but like creating because I've done like a lot of work. I used to do content creation for like brands and stuff. A lot of times when you're trying to change how you feel just to accommodate to what the world wants or what the market wants and stuff, it's easy to create 2 pieces, 5 pieces, 10 pieces. But after that, you get stuck because after that, it becomes a chore to create because it's not something you have your heart into it and stuff. So I feel like create something that you have your heart into it, think long term, make sure you feel your art. If you don't feel your art, what are you doing? Like, I feel like I always say this, that art is so much bigger than me and you. And, I always say that, um, I'm sorry, I'm going to go a little off topic, but in the Mexican culture, they always say that you have three deaths in your life. So your first death is when you actually lose the will to live. Your second death is your actual physical death. The third death is when the last person who ever knows you speaks of you or talks about you and stuff. So it could be your children's children. After that, like, no one knows who you are and stuff, and that's considered the final death. And I hate that. I think that we all artists should kind of immortalize ourselves. And it's very easy. When I say you immortalize yourself, you don't have to do something crazy. Just put your artwork on the internet. Tomorrow you could die and someone could still find that. So, like, remember that, like, art is bigger than all of us. Like, that whatever you create could be down like 100 years later, 200 years later. It could be part of your personal legacy. It could be part of, like, your culture's legacy if that doesn't exist, or mankind's legacy. And I feel like art is way bigger than all of us. So make sure you respect that. You make sure, other than all the money and stuff it's bringing you, make sure you respect of the hard work and effort that people have put to kind of push art for all these years. We've had this term called the starving artist for decades, and it is still a thing because people are doing it out of love and care. And the moment you define that art without love and care, you kind of defy and demean all those people who've done it for years and stuff. So don't do that. Put your heart in it, and yeah.
Beautiful. So I saw that during our conversation before or off our call today, you said that you would like, or you prefer to mint your artwork as a unique copies on Ethereum blockchain using Foundation app. Or so why did you choose that, and why not moving, or why not being open to other blockchains, knowing that, for instance, Wax or Flow or others are much cheaper, pretty much fast growing, and they are getting a lot of attention recently, especially, for instance, Wax, that is attracting super big names. Yesterday I saw that Reebok is joining Wax. There has been pretty big leagues or games like Atari or Street Fighters or things like that are already on Wax, and they did amazing or stunning selling spree. And so why Foundation and not Wax, for instance?
Very interesting. The first thing I would say is, even like, if I feel this right now, it doesn't mean I might feel the same thing tomorrow and stuff. I feel like we are in a very fast-pacing world in general. I'm someone who is very open to changes and stuff, especially in the NFT world, because it's just like so brand new. No matter how many people think, oh, it's been there for a while, it's still brand new. It's not that old and stuff. So that there is definitely an element to it. How I see it right now, and this is just my personal opinion, I'm obviously always open to changing it. I'm not saying it's the right opinion and stuff, but one of the reasons initially I got into the Ethereum blockchain, which is also going to change, which was the reason I got into it and stuff, because they're coming out with the Ethereum 2.0 in July, I think. That's going to make all the transactions cheaper. We're going to go from the more the model of I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically, it's going to make the transactions a lot more cheaper, a lot more faster, and things like that. But one of the reasons I got it is, I believe, I've seen this a lot in the Instagram world, in a lot of like other art forms and stuff and everything, that it very easy becomes like flooded with people who are just trying to take opportunity of the hype of it and stuff. And you have this influx of like really mediocre stuff. Obviously, mediocre is a very relative term. I don't want to demean someone's art and stuff and everything. But when I say that, I just feel like it doesn't matter what your art is. It literally could be like a sketch or whatever and stuff. To me, it should have certain emotion, whatever emotion it is. It's not about the art, it's the emotion behind it. But I feel like a lot of times we've seen these platforms come up with like people who are just like opportunists and stuff. And I feel like the element of scarcity and an element of having higher gas prices would kind of eliminate that. I'm going to risk putting out my work and stuff and everything, because like I wouldn't do that if like for like $100 or $120 and stuff, if my art, I don't believe in my art and stuff. So that was one of my first reasons I went into the Ethereum blockchain, which is changing. Like in the last week or so, the gas piece has been like crazy low and stuff. And yeah, and like you have seen like a bunch of art. So, and the ETH 2.0 will kind of change that as well. So I don't know how the future is. I was looking into wax and stuff and everything, and I feel like right now a lot of it has a different market. And this is my very close knowledge, so please correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not as informed as you are about wax and stuff. But I was looking at it, and right now, because I'm not doing something in the collectibles or like multiple editions sort of direction and stuff and everything. And the last time I checked, I think it is catered to something of that sort. And I felt like, yeah, please go ahead.
No. So basically on wax, you can mint as much as you want. So you define or you predefine in your template how many copies you want your to be. So if you want to, so you can always mint unique versions. So basically in wax, what they do or what they tend to do is that they put a base or so the base artwork without no animation or something. It will go as the common version. And then with animation, it will be rare, ultra rare, or unique. It depends on the effort you put on it. You can always mint a simple piece in one copy, unique copy, and post in there. It will be yours. Definitely, it's there, but in the market there are a few that are recognizable. So you start without being whitelisted. You have to apply for whitelisting. You are whitelisted. In order to be from the big ones, you need to be further verified. Once you are verified, I think it means that your artwork is good. It's quite differentiated from the basic ones. The market on its own filter the ones that are whitelisted and verified from the non-whitelisted. So people that are coming just to bump and dump stolen or cheap artwork are basically eliminated for most of the people, so it won't affect, and the more you sell, the higher your ranking will be, the easier you will be found. So something like that. I think I cannot honestly say that it blocks you, but I think Ethereum, anybody on Ethereum as well can sell anything. You can mint anything. It's open. It's a blockchain. Nobody can restrict you from doing anything. But maybe the high gas fees was as you said, or as you mentioned, that was this kind of threshold or the thing that is eliminating most people to go and try to mint something, because it will cost them something at the beginning, and they want to avoid that. While on wax, it's pretty cheap. You just pay a little bit of rams that are, in cents, and you are able to mint as many as you want. So it's not a big deal,
So, but, I mean, like I always say never say never. So it is something I've been researching on and thinking about in the future and stuff. This is a conversation I was talking to about, you must know Loopify in the NFT world. We were speaking on the internet. He's a very well-known person. And, we were talking about like making multiple editions of the same thing, and I feel like it's a very tricky way. I shouldn't say it's a tricky way. It's a different way of going about your business and stuff. Because I feel like in order for you to be able to kind of have your multiple editions of the same thing of high value, if there's some sort of like a big brand or big story behind it and stuff. And I feel like that's how it becomes valuable. It's a different marketing way, and it's a more long-term marketing way that you kind of have to look into and stuff, because you take like comic books, like like you have the same series, like like the older the series was and stuff, or the first copy of that comic book would be more valuable and stuff. You have guitars and cars like that. They will be like, oh, we've released 100 models. The model number 2 will be a lot more expensive than model number 40 and stuff and everything. However, in a flip side, you also have like, let's say like one of the reasons like the Mona Lisa is the Mona Lisa is because it's only the Mona Lisa and stuff. So it works both ways. Like it has worked both ways throughout our life. I just feel like the marketing and branding of it is like so much different. But I definitely think it works. It is not something I'm saying never say never. Maybe I will definitely look into it in the future. The world is changing. There are new opportunities coming out. I'm constantly learning. There are people like you who are teaching us about it and stuff and everything. So we never know.
Okay, thank you. Just a small comment that sometimes the change or difference between Mint 1 and Mint 2 is 5 to 10x is the price, you know? So for you as as the collection owner or as the minter or the creator, I think you would sell them for the same price. But once they are on the market, people will tend to get the lowest mint possible, and that makes the reseller will makes the 10x.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very
So
interesting.
yeah. I don't know. I've never used Ethereum basically on the NFT market, but I saw that there is some recurring fee that comes. For instance, if you sell your artwork as the creator, I think you can apply it as well. So it's available on Wax. Each time one of your artwork is sold, you get a percentage from the sale. Is it available on Ethereum? Isn't it?
Yeah, I think a lot of time this is actually done. It's actually done more by the platforms rather than the Ethereum blockchain. Like the smart contract is built into it, but it is something that the platforms are giving. Because yesterday, Binance announced that they are making their NFT platform, and they mentioned that they're only going to give 1% of secondary sales. And everyone's going like crazy about it and stuff because almost all the other platforms they give you 10%. So it is not only a blockchain concept, it is also something that's being controlled by platforms and stuff and everything. But yeah, like ideally that's how it should be and stuff and everything. So it's awesome that
so basically on Wax you set the fee that you want to take. Nobody can tell you what you want. So there is 2% that goes for the tokenomics. There is 2% that goes for the market, I think, as a market fee, and then you are free to set your fee from 1 to 15%. So if you wish to get only 1% as recurring from pieces that you sell, you will get, or you can go as high as 15%. So that's up to you as a collection owner. I'm very happy we had this talk today. We got to know so many things. I really, really appreciate your input. I hope that our listener will enjoy your point of view, because for me it was quite interesting. So by the end of our talk, do you still have anything that you would like to add that may be important or informative about your work, about NFT, about whatever? Feel free to free talk as much as you want.
That's awesome. Yeah, this was absolutely fun. I think it was so cool to have this conversation, to listen to you as well. Also, I must say, I've been thinking that I want to say this to you. I love your shirt. It has your
I told you so.
I love it. It's a very cool shirt and stuff. But yeah, this was absolutely fun. Yeah, I would just say that we are very much, and this goes back to what I was saying earlier, that we are very much right at the beginning of this whole world and stuff. Don't close your mind to different platforms, different blockchains of how the market is going to change. There's this whole, I don't know if you read, but there's this whole talk about an article about how a lot of celebrity art has fallen their prices and stuff and everything. There's like a lot of Beeple work that is going for 50% or what it was going like 2 weeks ago and stuff and everything. So the market is changing very fast. Like there are like so many factors that are affecting it. There are so many people that are joining it and stuff. And I feel like we are just in the start. There are only few music industry people that are on there, but I believe very soon Hollywood's going to jump in and they'll sell like scenes of movies and stuff like that. And like, there'll be like different sports. So we are just right at the start of it. Don't sleep on it. Get creating, get collecting, like don't miss out on the NFT chain like everyone did on the cryptocurrency and stuff, or like Bitcoin when it started off and stuff. So don't miss out on, it's a new concept. Don't be scared. Change is always different and stuff, but yeah, get onto it.
Thank you very much. Just of note that Weezer, basically they are a band from the 90s. They are on Wax today. They are selling, they have their NFT sale today. So I don't know, maybe you can still manage to grab a pack for yourself. Anyway, thank you so much again, Rahim, for joining us today, and I wish you a very nice day.
Thank you so much for having me, Peter. You have a beautiful day as well, and good luck for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Crypto Untangled. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcasting platform so you never miss an episode. For more information, visit us at kryptonnewslebanon.com. We'll see you soon.